So you've lived without a sunroom for so long and you decided now is the time to get the sunroom. But what do you need to know about that? In this video, I'm going to go over things you need to consider when getting a 3-season or a 4-season sunroom. Okay, the very first thing is you need to decide what size sunroom you really need. What is going to be the best size for your needs, for your wants. And the best way to do that is to go to the biggest room in your house. Typically, it's the living room. Measure out the length of it and the width of it. See how wide and long it is, and look around and see if that's the space you really want in the sunroom. Do you need a little bit bigger than that, or is that space really good for you? That would be a good rule of thumb to figure out the spacing as far as the size of the sunroom that you would like. So now that you roughly know what size sunroom you want, go in the backyard where you want that sunroom and look at the house. What does your current house allow you to do with a sunroom? Is it going to let you have a nice gable roof, or are you limited to a studio roof because you have some windows on the second story? Let's take a look at some pictures, some samples here. So in this first picture, we have a deck and a house, and this customer wanted to build a 3-season sunroom, and they did like the gable style of the sunroom. So on the left, we have the before pictures, on the right, we have the after picture. Because we were limited by the window above, the pitch of that gable had to be not that steep. So in this case, you look at the before picture, we had to put the roof right under the upper windows, that second story windows, and then bring the sunroom out. So things to consider here would be, again, the pitch of the roof and the size where it's coming out. We're going to come back to this picture in a second, but let's look at another one here. In this case, another homeowner wanted also a gable style, but in this case, they were not looking for vaulted ceilings, so the ceiling will be flat, and the outside of the gable will be solid as well, and they brought out the room all the way on their stamped concrete. Here's another one where the homeowner wanted to convert this kind of utility room into a sunroom, and they did want the vaulted ceilings, so we removed the existing utility room, built a lot bigger sunroom, and added a gable roof in there as well. So the point of that example was the roof style. What style roof do you really want? And can you have based on your current conditions on your current house there? After you figure out the roof style, then we can move down the exteriors of the sunroom. Do you want a lot of windows? Do you want a solid knee wall where you have a little bit of privacy? What kind of a style are you looking for? So again, let's look at this one here. In this case, this porch or deck was more than 30 inches off the ground, which means we had to have a fall barrier that's 36 inches tall from the deck surface. And the homeowner here wanted to be able to see through that bottom portion to their yard. So they chose to have glass knee wall all around with windows above that they could operate and open. But if we look at this example here, this is more of a traditional sunroom where the homeowner wanted a solid knee wall below with windows above. And this one's fully 4-season insulated and heated and cooled space for that homeowner there. All right, so now that we know what kind of knee wall structure we want there, whether it's going to be glass or solid. So most of the time, you want to match what's on the house. So if you have hardy on the house, hardy soffit, hardy fascia as well, you want to match that and put it on the sunroom as well. If you have aluminum wrapped fascia and vinyl soffit underneath, then you want to do the same on the porch or on the sunroom as well. That way it matches your home. Then in this case, we have a lot of windows, so we mostly have posts that we need to wrap to make it look good. And because we were having hardy on the house, we did the same thing here as far as the trim, added some hardy trim all around, and then painted it the color that the homeowner wanted. Let's look at this other one here. It's a 4-season room, and the homeowner had an older home with kind of an older style siding, which currently we have a picture of in progress. We're going to match that as best as we can, but we're going to put hardy all around for siding. And then for the fascia and the soffit, we'll do hardy as well, which will match their current soffit with no gutters there. But if a house has vinyl siding, then we would want to put vinyl siding all the way around to match it to the house as well. So a few more things to consider when looking at the sunroom from the outside for yourself. This homeowner chose to leave the underdeck portion completely open, but you may want to add some kind of skirting in here, whether it's lattice, whether it's going to match the house with brick or blocks or whatever it is. You may want to match it and close it in, and then potentially even use that space as some kind of utility or storage kind of space in there. That's definitely another thing to consider there. In this case, the homeowner really wanted the door to swing out, and in order to have the door swing out, you have to have a landing spot. So this landing space here, we added as a little deck with stairs using composite decking and aluminum railing. So that's an option if you have an elevated sunroom. If you have something like this here, we're actually going to add in here stairs, but in this case the door is in swing, so you don't need that landing on the outside. If it was going to be outswing, then you do need the landing, which would at least be 4x4 and then stairs from there. So that's something to consider. Also, with this project here, we did foundation. So you can overlay that foundation with brick if you wanted to, but you want to consider that ahead of time before starting the project. In this case, it's going to stay the way it is. It's just going to get painted. Another important thing to consider in this example here would be the roof line. So we have the roof of the new 3-season room here. It's a little bit hard to see on this picture, but the roof line matches the gutter over here as well. So this roof of the porch or of the sunroom is not higher or lower than the edge of the roof of the house. In some cases, there's no other option but to put it higher or lower. But in this case, there was an option, and we matched it all around. That way it looks even and it looks like it belongs there. And speaking of that roof line there, you want to consider what kind of gutters you're getting. Again, you want to match the ones that you already have. So if you have white, you want to get white. Or if you have a different color, you want to match that as well. All right, so now let's move to the inside of the room. The very first thing to consider would be inside, what kind of a ceiling are you looking for? Is that going to be drywall or sheetrock? Is it going to be tongue and groove, some kind of a wood plank, beadboard, vinyl beadboard? Like what kind of ceiling are you looking for? And then again, in this example here, we have posts. So we wrap the post typically with the same material as on the outside. If you get a fully 4-season sunroom, typically you would have drywall all around on the ceiling as well as on the walls. Sometimes you would get wooden ceiling if you want an accent kind of a look to it. And the other thing to consider would be the house wall. So we're going to be enclosing this new sunroom here, but the house wall in this case will stay the same siding as it is currently. But in other cases, we take the siding off and either make it drywall, make it like hardy sheets. There's different options for that. Or even do like a veneer brick or other accent on the house wall as well. Once you've decided what kind of siding, or not siding, but more like wall you want, whether it's going to be drywall or otherwise, the other thing to decide would be the floor as well. Are you looking for tile or LVPs or some other floor? If you are going to have a lot of windows and you're going to get a lot of direct sunlight, LVP is not the best solution because it's going to warp over time. Tile typically is always a go-to for sunrooms, but you might be able to go with some other options depending on where your sunroom is located in terms of how much sun you're getting in there. When you're getting a sunroom, you will get outlets to code, which is usually within 6 feet of your back to the wall. You're going to have an outlet. So those will come standard. But if you're looking to add a TV somewhere up on the wall, you may want to consider an outlet on the wall. Think through those options as well. And then when it comes to lighting, do you want a fan, couple fans depending on how big your space is? Do you want can lights or wafer lights? Do you want any other kind of lighting in there? That's definitely something to think through as well. All right, another part of electrical would be a mini split. If you're getting a mini split for your sunroom, you will need to get specialized wiring for the mini split. Typically there's a disconnect on the outside of the room where the mini split hooks into. And then speaking of mini splits, if you are getting a 4-season room or even a 3-season room and you're getting a mini split in there, definitely want to consider heating and cooling that space. If your house system is large enough, the HVAC system is large enough to accommodate the additional square footage, you may be able to get some ductwork done so that you can move the air into the sunroom as well. But depending on what you have, like here we have concrete, it may not work best getting any kind of ductwork into this. And also if you have a mini split, it gives you an additional control for that space, that you don't have to run your main system to heat and cool the sunroom. You can just use the mini split and turn it off when you're not using that space. All right, so those are some of the main things you want to look out for. Once you figured those out for your sunroom, the other thing to consider would be the space around your sunroom. Are you looking to extend a deck out of your sunroom so you have a little bit more room to grill, put a grill, or maybe put a patio, whether it's made out of pavers or concrete, and have that additional space where you can grill and entertain your guests as well. So hopefully this gave you some inspiration and ideas of what to look for in a sunroom. If you like what you heard here, please give us a like. Continue to watch for new content, and I'll see you in the next video.